You're so right about that sense of self. And it's really not just power for you, but you empower others, and that's a great gift. And but it doesn't come free. Um, it just requires what we can do to keep
Think about
ourselves
it,
disciplined.
Professor Bob. People don't have the right mentorship. They don't have, I think David Lipset said it today, you know, who you're associating with, who are your mentors, who are your teachers, who are your trainers, who are you a disciple of? I did this whole new book that I'm writing on and the power of the discipleship that Art Williams, we were disciples of Art Williams, which means that we learned from him. We were willing to learn. We were willing to do what he told us to do. Uh, and I love what David Lipset said. He didn't walk on water, but he knew where all the stones were, all the rocks were. I like that quote. And so,
What was what was
tell me
sad
who
for
you're
me
following, and I'll tell you where you're going.
What was sad for me, Coach, is to see that as of right now, we have 27 people um, trying to be discipled, and we need 27,000. I mean, it's crazy.
Well, we know where they're going, and their way financially is not the right way. And you got to get somebody who knows where they're going, who's been there, who can teach you, who can train you, who can tell you where the potholes were. Every week, I mentor my nephew's son. He's 18 and he's getting into business. And so every week I spend 45, 50 minutes with him. Today was all about money and the money mistakes his friends are making. We talked about credit cards, Mary, the evils of credit cards. We talked about the evils of buying new cars, brand new cars. We talked about all this stuff regarding money and money accumulation. And I said, why do you want to make $100,000 a year? And of course, he gave me the wrong answer. Know what the right answer is, John, right? So you can say 25,000. Anybody want to, John, would you put it in your calculator? $25,000 a year at 12% for 30 years. And I said, if you make $100,000 this year, you put away $25,000. Look how much money you'll be worth in 30 years. And a drum roll, please, John.
$25,000.
$25,000 a year for 30 years at 12%.
Oh, Jesus. Hold on. Mine's in months.
25,000, $2,000 a month, that's fine. $2,000
$2,000 a month for 30 years.
at 12%.
$7 million.
And he'll only be 48 years old.
Jesus Christ.
Yes, I agree with you. The point is, Charles, is that how many people are talking to somebody age 18? There are families out there that are teaching their kids how to scam the welfare system, how to get food stamps. They're teaching them by here's how you can buy a bunch of stuff right now and pay for it later on credit cards. Here's how you can buy too big a house. Here's how you can have. Here's how you have your wife can't stay home from work. She's got to go to work for the next 40 years. Here's how your kids can get college scholarships so you don't have to pay for it. We know all the tricks of the trade regarding being cheap and not having to come up with any money and let the rich pay for it. Remember, I hear that and go, wait a second. Why don't you pay for it? Let the rich pay for it. They got more money. See, what does that tell you? They're in trouble financially and they screwed up and they know it because I tried to talk to them years ago and they wouldn't listen to me. So, isn't that good? So, what are you getting from all of this, Daryl?
the faster we go, the more we save. The faster we go, the closer we get to defunding GoFundMe.
Yep. And take your children and enjoy the world with your children. Take them on places. They say this about rich kids, that part of their education is all the great places their parents take them. They don't read about national parks. The parents take them to national parks. They don't read about these great places in America, all the states in America. Their parents take them on to these. They don't talk about Europe. They take them to Europe. And that's part of the money you make should be for educational purposes. What do you think about all this, Rocky?
That sounds great. I'd love to take my daughter to places that I've been myself instead of just talking about them.
Well, we want, and the way you get that is you want that for other people. That's the key thing. You want to make $100,000 a year? Find 3 people, ERISA, that you want to help make $100,000 in the next 12 months. Most of us never think that way. Think, I want to make it. The way you make it is you say, I'm going to find 3 other people I can help. Or I'm going to find 6 people to make $50,000. Or I'm going to find 8 people to make $25,000. But I'm going to help other people make money. And guess what happens to you? You end up making money, buddy. Most of us never, ever graduate beyond the I want to make it for myself. Again, where would we be if we woke up every day and saying, I've got to find 3 people I want to make $100,000 a year today. And I'm going to help them find it. You see that difference there? What do you think about all this, Tony?
What I love about this, Coach, I always have, is the best way to help myself is to help other people. And if you stay others focused, and because Coach, I was given the opportunity to have one person off of 1,000, tens of thousands. And the greatest thing is that no matter anything before this, Coach, the only way that I could share it with others is if someone above me or around me fired, died, or left. And here I can call a Rocky, I can call a Jennifer, I can call an Enoch and be like, hey, I found this awesome thing. Come with me. Come with me. Let me show you. For once, Coach, I can actually share it and not get in trouble for it. Where I remember, Coach, in the law, I remember working for corporate America, and part of me hoped that I got the promotion, but part of me felt bad because my friend didn't. And here, we all can do it together. I can get and here's what I love, Coach. It's nothing to do with favoritism, being born the right way, with the right last name, or went to the right school. It is all about you do the work, you get it done, you will be free.
Oh, meritocracy.
That's the word. See, you use all those big words, Coach. Uh-oh, Coach, Errol's got his glasses on, sir. He's looking awfully smart right now. He's looking very sharp.
Not because I want to.
You look good on you, though, Errol. They look good on you. Don't
why don't we start out with the football? We always say, here's the football, the fundamentals, going to fundamentals, and show that video about the GoFundMe and how we're at war with it and why. And then Errol and I will talk about why we're at war with GoFundMes and what's wrong with GoFundMes.
Coach, this is a GoFundMe that I found for just a neighborhood in Dallas. And I can't go too far down because someone posted a picture of their stillborn child. So I'm not going to go too far down. But, folks, I want you to look at this. These are people. This is a mom. She left her 6 boys orphaned. This was someone's dad. This was someone's brother. This was someone's son. This is someone's uncle. This is someone's auntie. Folks, this infuriates me. And I'm going to show you why. I hope it worked this well. I hope this does work. Here we go. I want you guys to watch this.
How often do you see GoFundMe campaigns when someone dies unexpectedly? I see it every week. Another fundraiser asking for $20,000 or $30,000 to bury someone's mom, dad, spouse. And I think the same thing every time. That $25 someone's donating, that could have gotten hundreds of thousands of dollars of life insurance coverage. But here's what nobody talks about. We'll spend $200 on dinner without thinking twice, but ask someone to spend $30 a month to protect their family, and they might say it's too expensive. Your family shouldn't have to beg strangers on the internet because you thought you were too young, too healthy, or that it was too expensive to get coverage. The harsh truth is that if you can't afford life insurance, your family definitely cannot afford for you to die without it. Don't make your loved ones choose between grieving and running GoFundMe pages. If this made you uncomfortable, good. That discomfort could save your family from financial devastation. If you've been thinking about life insurance, let's talk about how much coverage actually costs. Comment life and let's get started. How often?
Coach, and I think she raises a great point. Folks, if you're brand new here, I'm just going to say this. My goal, this office's goal, is to eradicate the need for GoFundMe. And so we're going to have our great coach and mentor, one of the founders of our company, Bill Orender, talk about why, how do we do it, and what is our plan. Coach, that's what I have for today for This is the Football.
Well, thank you very much, Tony. We always have to remember, why are we here? And again, we have the 4 pillars, and I've got Errol Myers. He and I will be discussing the 4 pillars. Could you pull those 4 pillars up, please? You better hurry, Tony. We might have to fire you. No. Please, never. Errol, we talk about the 4 pillars. These are 4 fundamental concepts that hold up the roof of your house. And if you have no roof of your house, you don't have a house. And these are 4 things that we bring to the table. Our company was founded in 1977, and we bring value to people that don't have anyone else coming into their lives and doing an intervention financially, like you just saw this lady talk about with life insurance. So the 4 pillars are: everyone needs to have an extra $100,000 of life insurance. Number 2, everyone needs to have $300,000 to retire on. Everyone needs to make $1,000 a month extra to get the wolves off their back. And the last one is, if everything works and you like it, you can make $250,000 a year here. I don't care how much, and you can do that in the next 2 years. Doesn't have to be forever. So, Errol, we're going to break down the first one, and I want to get your comments on it.
Sure.
We just showed people GoFundMe, and there are 5,000 GoFundMes a day, new ones getting on the internet, all for life insurance. If you pull up your zip code, you'd be shocked at how many people in your community have died without any life insurance. Then a family has to start scrambling to get nickels and dimes and quarters. Like that one woman you just showed, she died with 6 children left over, and they raised $938. I don't know what people are thinking. Well, I'll just go to GoFundMe and I'll get hundreds of thousands. No. You take a look at those GoFundMes, Errol, and let's talk about that for a second, how people go through life and they have insurance on their cell phone, they have insurance on their computer, they have insurance on their glasses, they have insurance, travel insurance, they have insurance for all kinds of things. But there's one thing that people have to have insurance for: protecting the loss of income of a loved one. That's what life insurance is, isn't it, Errol? It's not that I got to pay on for 30 years and I probably never use. It is appropriately priced.
Uh-oh.
He's freezing, Errol. Do you
Probably,
understand?
you don't
There
fly
it is.
airplanes, don't have a ride a motorcycle without a helmet, right?
Right. So, Coach, you're freezing a little bit, but man, it's interesting that you said what you said about the cell phones and the other things that people purchase insurance on. And I saw a stat. I wish I wrote it down or something, but if I'm saying it right, 70% of insurance purchased on products never end up in a claim. So people buying insurance on all of these different things, your cell phone, or as you mentioned, your computer, or all of these different travel insurance, but 70% goes unclaimed. But the thing that we know will end up in a claim, which is a life insurance, people avoid it like the plague. And so, man, GoFundMe, I don't know when they started, but it just seems like it's been a few years ago. And I don't know the original mission of the company. I don't think, I could be wrong, I don't think it was formed for the purpose of life insurance or for the purpose of funerals, right? It was a way for people to raise funds for different things, for businesses or down payments on houses and all of that. But that's not what it's known for. It's known for funeral expenses, final expenses. You know, I've heard it called electronic panhandling and things of that nature. And so that is the challenge, the challenge that we have, and hopefully the care that we have to eliminate that from there, because there's no reason why people that should not be the plan. You know, when we know that debt is certain, when we know, or at least you should know, that life insurance isn't expensive. And so that was a shame, you know, when Tony shows those pictures of the GoFundMe. The thing that I always look at is the age of the person. It's always different ages. Like, I'm glad you didn't show the baby, but babies do die, you know, and it shows different ages. It shows different ethnicities and obviously different genders. So no one is exempt, but somehow people feel like it's not going to happen to them. People would be at a funeral thinking they can't be next.
You know, I thought it's interesting too. If people think $100,000, that's a lot of money. And if you have $100,000 of life insurance and you can get 8% on your money, in about 10 years, that at $1,000 a month, that's all that will bring in. If you get the 100 and invest it, and you can pull out $1,000 a month for 10 to 12 years, that's it. The money's all gone. When people think $100,000, my gosh, my wife will buy new cars and new clothes. I heard one man say, I don't want to make her future husband rich. On $100,000, and they've got 3 kids. Talk about that, Errol, and how people, when there's a death in a family, every one of these that we just saw in GoFundMe, the story behind that is they not just lost the person, they lost their income.
That's right.
And there's no replacement income to the families. The bills keep coming in. The mortgage keeps coming in. The car payments keeps coming in. The kids got to keep eating. They got to have food on the table. They got to have their fun clothes, like, you know, running shoes and things like that. They have to live their lives.
Yeah.
Life doesn't care if you take a financial hit, does it?
No, not at all. And it doesn't matter how bad your life is already. You know, I'm thinking of a recent friend about a month ago, she died. And she had an older daughter who happened to be my goddaughter, and by the way, she decided not to have insurance with me. Had a policy years ago, let it lapse, never got it back. But her younger 2 kids, 14 is the youngest, she was a single mom, so he had to move in with a relative because mom is gone. And then the other middle child was paralyzed from an unfortunate incident that happened that left him paralyzed. But he had to go into a facility because she didn't have life insurance in place. And no, 100,000. I mean, that's the bare minimum, right? We on a mission to at least get people to have 100,000 so that they won't be on GoFundMe. But 100,000 doesn't replace the income that the person is providing, not for a long time. And you just gave the example, Coach, of that's really $1,000 a month for maybe 8 years. I think less, because if they knew how to manage $1,000 a month, they wouldn't be in a position of needing GoFundMe, right? And so that they're gonna run through that money so fast because everybody needs a vacation, and they'll take care of vacation for them and whomever else. And I can't see that it's gonna last even 8 years, maybe 8 months, maybe 2 years.
People don't talk about this, but when people die, you don't wake up the next day and go, oh, well, and move on. The grief, and try to find a grief counselor. I know of some grief counselors, $180 an hour with no money, which means you're not going to get any counseling. And you can't go to your pastor because pastors are not good counselors. Everyone goes to him because it's cheap. He's free. You're going to get the best help. I know Keenan Tennyson paid a death claim of a father who saved his child swimming down the island down South Texas. And the first thing they did was use that money to get counseling. And the first thing the counselor did was go with them on a trip to South Padre, to the exact place where he died, so they could heal. They had the expenses, probably $3,000-4,000 just to get the kids' heads straight and right. So again, this is, talk about that for a second, and how most people don't think you use that money for counseling.
Yeah, I think that's necessary. And let's face it, I mean, and I'll just say in the Black community, we don't do counseling, right? It's taboo. You go to church, as you mentioned, you go to church and you get with a pastor who's struggling in their own lives to counsel you, right? They haven't been clinically or scholastically trained to understand sociology and psychology and things of that nature. And so they can't, even though they may have their best heart for you, they can't really move you from point A to point B. And so, yeah, to have it done properly, the counselors, professional counselors is necessary, especially when there's children involved. I think I see my mother on here. We lost my niece years and years, actually 20 years ago. And my sister she didn't have counseling back then. She said she didn't think about it. She had insurance, but she didn't think about it. But even like in the last couple of years, 2 years or so, she was still feeling the hurt and had to go through some counseling sessions, right? And so, that's something that people don't think about when it comes to having enough money when you have a loss like that, because that's a permanent loss, and people can't necessarily deal with the permanency of the finality of that person gone from an emotional standpoint and a financial standpoint.
Again, Errol, what we do is we solve that problem. People have a problem and we have the solution. For $1 a day, think about this thing right here. That's $2 and I don't know, some cents a day. People drink Starbucks, $4, $5, $6 a day.
Right.
But when they think about these things that we're talking about, $1 a day, probably 80 cents to 85 cents a day to a 30, 35-year-old, they can get $100,000 of protection. Think about that, Errol. And what would this world be like if they didn't have GoFundMes and all these people had $100,000 policies?
Man, it would be that's a thought right there. The communities would change. If every time someone died, that $100,000 check showed up. You're talking about eventually establishing wealth, probably if they did the right things with it. But it's perpetuating a cycle, right? If you see your family members doing it, or your closest friends doing it, and there's a small lucky few that get funded, right? And so that's the way. You know, people will avoid the conversation, and they're intending, you know, that their best friends and their close ones, their loved ones will contribute. And they apply pressure on that as well. And so it would definitely change the family. You know, if every time someone died, they at least had $100,000, and then if everybody in the community had a similar thing, then you start seeing prosperity. Ultimately, because people will have lump sum. Just think, I mean, thank God, you know, I haven't had experience like great loss like that, but some people have lost, you know, some family members in this past year, and it's not necessarily one. You know, it's several, and that's several GoFundMe's is what I'm getting to. They have lost people, and then they're back on the GoFundMe trying to raise funds, and God forbid it's a multiple family accident, right? Where multiple people die in a common accident, and those expenses exist, and you can imagine the emotional side of that needs to be healed. So yeah, $1 a day we can insure, you know, and even less than that in some cases, depending on their age. But everybody can afford to have some insurance or at least $100,000 of coverage.
The second pillar is being able to have $300,000 down the road at age 65. Let me just give you an idea. $300,000 sounds like a lot of money. But if you are 30 years old and you need it 40 years from now, $300,000, that's like $40,000 today. So I'm gonna have $300,000 no, it's like 40,000. Could you retire on $40,000 today? And we can get you $300,000 to retire on for $1 a day, $1 for the insurance, and $1 a day for at least have $300,000 to retire on. And I've got some statistics, Errol.
Yes. 3
in 10 people say they are stressed out about one day being able to retire. Only 18%, 1 out of 5, are confident they've got enough money saved so they can retire. And by the way, $300,000, you can't retire on $300,000. It's going to take you at least 1.2 million. Everyone's going to be a millionaire one day, so hang in there with these politicians that hate millionaires, because you're going to be one of them. Most people plan is to work longer, but reality that those who plan to work longer are forced by health issues or layoffs to give up on the plan. Talk about that, Errol, to at least we got a plan for people for a measly $1 a day. They can have $300,000 of dignity awaiting them.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. We're talking bare minimums here, and some they say oatmeal is better than no meal. Some is better than none. So having 300,000 when you need 1.2 million isn't quite enough. But what track are most people on? They're not on the track of even maybe having 50,000 or 100,000 accumulated. And so, you know, $1 a day, $30 a month, you know, that's $60 a year. If you did that in the right places, allowing compounding interest to take place right through investing, then you can potentially get to that 300,000. It may not be fully enough than what you actually need, but you can make it stretch a lot further than having anything. You know, I was telling a young lady today about the wealth transfer, you know, that's happening in the seismic numbers that's happening. And she was like, wow, I didn't know that. And she is, I think, 40 years old. And I said, let me ask you, do you mind sharing me, you know, how much do you have in your 401k? She's like, she started laughing. And I was like, why are you laughing? She said, I don't have anything. I don't have a 401k.
Gee.
She's working contract through what you call it, not a day labor, a temp service. And so she's been doing that for the last 3 years. She gets these contracts, works for about 6 weeks, and then she's off, and then look for the next. And so I'm thinking, man, she'll never accumulate because she's not going to have a pension. And so the only way that she could possibly retire is to save or invest into a 401k or retirement plan, but she's probably not going to do it, right? Because she's doing just like everyone else. And so we have that pillar to really stress the importance and the ease in which it can be accomplished.
We talk about $1 a day going in, and a person has a good opportunity to have $300,000 there. Where would that $1 a day be going? Into what investments, and are they safe? Are they practical? Is what kind of investments are these?
So we obviously, with our company, we recommend listen, any type of investment, there's going to be some risk, right? If someone tells you is no risk, you run away, because there is not an investment. It would not be called an investment if there is no risk. But we're talking about the least risky type of investment.
Over 30 years, I mean, there's virtually no risk over 30 years. And $1 a day, by the way, not exactly throwing money at a racetrack.
Yeah, with the highest return possible, right? And so we're talking mutual funds for the most part. And in case people on here don't know what a mutual fund is, it's basically you can put your money into a fund that already has hundreds of millions of dollars in there. So whatever amount you contribute, let's say the $30 a month, that's going into a bucket that already has millions of dollars. And that bucket is being overseen and managed by stockbrokers, for lack of better term, money managers, people that are degreed and licensed in understanding finance. And they take that whole bucket of money and then smart people, right? With even higher intelligence computer systems. And because they're managing this pot of money, they can get access to companies. See, the CEO of different, New York Stock Exchange companies will accept their phone call. They won't accept my phone call. But if the fund manager for the mutual fund calls them and say, hey, let me see your books, let me see what you're investing in, let me see your outlook, they'll take that call. And not only would they take that call, they'll deliver all of the documents to them, because they want a piece of the millions of dollars that they're managing. So when we're saying $1 a day or putting into a mutual fund, your money is being spread amongst over 100 different companies that are also in different industries. So to my knowledge, and I've been doing this for a while, right? Licensed since 95, I don't know of any mutual funds that have gone bankrupt. And the reason why that doesn't happen is because, again, not all of the eggs are in one basket. See, they invest with a mutual fund. You don't have to be an expert, because they're the expert. You don't have to do the research and stay connected to your phone and look at charts and graphs and monitor what the president says and what the tariffs may or may not do. You don't have to do that, because they're doing that with not just your money, they're doing it with everybody's money, right? And so in the mutual fund, there are sectors. So even if, like in 2008, the mortgage or the financial sector went down, it crashed, quote unquote, crashed. But the mutual funds not only has financial companies, they'll have retail or consumer goods or technology or, finance, or even they invest in the government, right? So maybe that part of the portfolio goes down, but you can't lose your money. The only way that you can lose all of your money, a lot of people ask about investing. How can I lose my money? Well, the only way that you can lose your money in a mutual fund is if all 100 plus companies go out of business at the same exact time.
And then they can sell the land underneath those buildings.
Yeah, they're investing in building, and they'll resell it or rent it, right? But the likelihood of, say, Nike, Amazon, CVS,
General Motors company,
yeah, of all of these companies going out of business at the same exact time,
Walmart,
it's probably not going to happen, right? Johnson & Johnson, transportation companies, all these
Clark, General Mills,
So they're probably not going to happen. We can't promise it, because we can't predict the future, obviously, but the likelihood that that's happening.
I mean, there's zero chance of it ever. If you keep it 30 years, A dollar a day. Where else can you put a dollar a day? Real estate? Where else can you put a dollar a day? Bitcoin, whatever that is. You see the point we're making? So a dollar for the insurance and a dollar for the most powerful place you can put a dollar a day. And that dollar a day is spread over about 50 or 60 different companies. New York Stock Exchange companies. These are valuable assets that you're going to put your money into. A dollar a day.
That's right.
And think about that, Errol. And everybody in your neighborhood, everybody you can work with, every family member needs our products and services. Talk about that, Errol. This is something everybody needs, and nobody has anybody to talk to about these.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, a common question I like asking people, if you woke up tomorrow and you had it on your mind to just get all your finances together, where would you go for the help?
Oh, no. Banks?
There's no place. There's no place.
Credit union?
Try going there. Like if you
Stock brokers?
There's nowhere, no other company, no other place that exists that will help you as a middle income average American. Now, if you win this Powerball, I think it's over $1 billion. Trust me, the line will be outside of your door. You'll wonder how everybody got your address. But that's probably not going to happen to most people. We're talking to hardworking middle income families. There is no place that we can think of. Where you go to the library, like social services, no one is going to help you get your finances in order. They might teach you. They'll give you some books to read. But then once you read, where do you go to implement? So that's what makes our company special, is that we will not only educate, but help you implement at low entry barrier entry points. Sure, if you hit that lottery, and I'm gonna say it first here, if y'all hit the lottery, call me, because we can help you manage that, I promise you. But you don't have to be a lottery winner. You don't have
But
to.
also that dollar a day grows tax free. You don't have to ever have any pay taxes on the return 30 years from now, 20 years. And you have access to your money within 48 hours, you can get your money.
Yes.
This is not something you can't get your money out of. Talk about that, Earl, how it's all grows tax free.
Yeah. We're talking about investing, putting your money into a Roth IRA. And man, that's one of the greatest financial inventions, I don't know, in this century probably, where you can legally avoid having to pay taxes. So if we're talking about accumulating $300,000, right? Or whatever the amount that you accumulate, if you are investing in a Roth IRA, all of that money is now tax-free. You will not have to pay taxes on it. See, kind of going back to why you need $300,000 in the first place is because things are more expensive. Do you think taxes are going to go down or up in the future? You know, they're going to go up, right? And so 300 that's like the baseline. Because sometimes people are like, yeah, man, they're talking about 300,000, coach, and I can't see myself. I don't know why I'm gonna need that. No, you will need that. I saw a study, a news thing today. With all of this technology that's being developed, the AI stuff, companies that are investing in AI development, they need warehouses for their computers now. And they're talking about how much energy these places are needing. And therefore, the trickle-down effect is that energy costs will rise because there's a bigger pull on all of the energy. So what do you think that's going to be in 10 years? Energy, we complain about electric bills now. Well, when all of these facilities are draining the power sources, electricity is not going to go down. So we have to have ways in which we can get 300,000 or more and make it tax-free. And so when we invest, listen, our minimum investment that we can open up for a person is actually $25 a month. Now, that might not get you to $2 million, but if you do it over time, it can get you to that 300,000. If you start early enough, but if you're late in the game, obviously, for the math of it, you need a little bit more. But I promise you, if you only had $25 or $30 and you put it in, you'll still be happier, you know, once you get to that age that you want to retire.
I've never had anybody say, I wish I had not put in that $25 a month. I could have had so much more fun. Putting that $25 someplace else.
Right.
And you know, we talked about, I joined the company years ago, like you did, to make extra money part-time. I joined it to make an extra $500 a month. Carol and I wanted more children. Carol and I wanted a house, but the finances just weren't there. I worked for a steel company, and my income was locked in to wherever the steel workers and union negotiators negotiated the pay raise for the steel workers. That's what I got. And so Errol, talk about that. And do people need to make some extra money? I've got some statistics here. 89% of the population, 9 out of 10, operate with less than 4 paychecks away from disaster. 43% spend more money every year than they make. That's interesting. $35,000 is average household consumer debt, not including your house. $8,000 is on the average credit card debt. 50% of Americans earn less money today net in their pockets to 1999. And I think a lot of people are mad at the government. You can be mad all you want. That's not going to change. Oh, if we get a new president in there, maybe you're right. That's not going to change. No president's going to come in there and lower your bills. Bills are bills, and they keep going up. Errol, talk about how in a neighborhood, 7 of 10 of those people want to make an extra $1,000 a month in every neighborhood that you can think of.
Yeah. You know, thankfully, I say thankfully because of the Zoom world, for the most part, I don't go into my office very often, right? And so my office is at the front of my house. If y'all ever catch me looking, I'm seeing traffic. And during the day, all I see is deliveries happening, right? Who do you think they're being delivered? I mean, of course, you got the Amazon and FedEx, but I see a lot of door dashing or whatever, people delivering food, right? So
I've never had an Uber driver under the age of 40.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're delivering. Why are they doing that? Because they need an extra income. $1,000 means the world to most people. I mean, I'll take an extra $1,000 right now. But statistically, people who file bankruptcy or foreclose on their home, they're less than $1,000 a month. So the reason they have to start all over, right, financially and get behind the 8 ball is because they don't have an extra $1,000 a month in their budget. And they don't really have a way to go about getting that. They're not going to go in and ask for a raise because for fear, if they ask for a raise, then that tips off your company that you're possibly looking to leave, right? And then they'll start looking to replace you. So they don't want to ask for a raise. And so there has to be a way for people to make additional income so that they can, you know, survive, not even thriving, you know. Thriving is a whole different level of conversation, but just to survive, an extra $1,000 is almost mandatory nowadays. I'm thinking about when I was in college, man, to go to college, you dreamed of coming out with a job that paid $50,000 a year. And I believe a lot of college grads today, and this was in the 90s, and I believe a lot of college grads today are still kind of hoping, wishing that they can get a job that pays $50,000 a year. But everything else in that time frame, and you know, in 25 plus years, everything has increased except incomes. Incomes have not kept up with it.
You have 100 people in your cell phone. How many would want to make an extra $1,000 a month, Errol?
100.
We got Christmas coming up in 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be shopping like crazy in 3 months from today for Christmas.
No.
You're having guess what's coming this month? All the credit card bills from the vacations you took this summer. Mm-hmm. And wasn't an extra $1,000 a month. So how does a person, we know now that people would like to make an extra 1,000. I did, you did, Tony did. Everybody who's got a face on this Zoom call came here because they wanted to make an extra $1,000 a month. How do you make an extra $1,000 a month with by $1 a day in the insurance side? Again, forget the mutual funds for a second. I want to make $1,000, but how do I do that? Helping people get an extra $1 a day, $100,000 policy.
Yeah. Let me I'll pull up slide here to help with the conversation, but it's not hard, you know. And people look for things that are easy, right? That's why they resort to the driving, the Uber. I heard I think it was John that said he was doing that before he got with Primerica, that he was waiting for his app to ding so that he can get, you know, the call to go and deliver. But he waited outside of a restaurant for maybe 6 hours with his car running so that he can go and make like 20 something bucks, I recall. So people are looking for something that's, you know, that's pretty easy. And so this, in my opinion, is like I said about investing, that's the least risky, highest performing investment. This is the easiest way for a person to make $1,000 legitimately, right? So basically, just by asking a couple people every day, you know, if they need additional insurance. And so we have different packages that we can offer a person, life insurance for a small amount, right? $1 a day, essentially, right? And so we have different amounts here, obviously, but these are our real coverage amounts, how much it actually costs. So for someone that's 25, for example, for $100,000 of coverage is only $21 a month. And so if you're 35, it's $29 a month. So if you can ask a couple people a day that simple question, then is $1 a day a lot of money to you, right? That's the question. And if you can get an extra $100,000 of protection for $1 a day and save your family from GoFundMe, wouldn't you want it? Even if they have insurance in place, they would actually probably take advantage of getting another $100,000 for $1 a day, right? And so that's what we would ask. And so the simple way to do this is just being able to ask people these simple questions that we will equip you with. And basically, you ask that of 2 people a day. That's basically, let's just say that's 10 a week. Probably 3 or 4 of them going to say yes. If you're helping 3 or 4 people a week do something like that, you're going to easily make $1,000 or more.
In other words, if a person says every day, is $1 a day a lot of money to you? That's the question. And they're going to say, well, no. Everyone says no. And that leads you to open the door. Well, that's 10 a week. 3 of those people decide to become, purchase $100,000 of life insurance. You're making $1,000 a month part-time, never leaving your house or your place of work. Talk about that, Earl. Isn't that great?
Yeah, that's like I said, that's the easiest way that a person can generate a significant amount of money part-time, because again, $1,000 keeps people in their home, keeps the eviction notices, it keeps people from filing bankruptcy. And so here's some of our ratios, right? If ratios are 1 out of every 3 married people would purchase $100,000 policy, right? If you talk to 6 people a week, 2 become clients. So that's 8 a month, which generate right at the $1,000 that we're talking about. And these are kind of our real numbers. We don't hide anything here. Now, here's the other part. If you start making that 1,000, guess what your friends and family are gonna want? They're in the same boat. So they're gonna be looking for additional income as well. So if you have a few people join you and they do the same thing, you do your couple of clients and then they're doing a couple, now you're making right at 2,000. And I believe if you start making 2,000 a month, something part-time, your life starts to change.
You know, Errol, we've met more people. We've got so many housewives that are working here, and they're not working to change their life. They're working to pay for baseball, soccer, get their kids on club sports. We got people that are trying to take care of their parents. We got people that just want to take the pressure off their financial side of their marriage. So we have people, all kinds of bad people from all walks of life. I was talking to one of my guys the other day, and he said, I was challenged to call the best real estate person in my city. Her name was on all the billboards. What have I got to lose? He called her. She hated real estate. And she came in and she hit the ground running. In her second year here, she made $250,000 a year. Now, but isn't that neat to know? The fourth pillar, you can start part-time doing good things for people, make an extra $1,000 a month, learning our system. And then I remember years ago when I left the steel company, I worked for a steel company for all those years. And I was one of those guys, Errol, that kept all my old paycheck stubs. And I don't know, in a box. And I went full part-time here. I made $17,000 my first 6 months part-time. And I gave my boss 2 weeks notice. This was on a Friday. He said, oh, don't worry about it. We'll have your replacement here on Monday. Which was a real gut punch. Because I thought, oh, I'm really must be doing a great job. You know, we'll have somebody here on Monday. And I went home because I was doing this full time because I really wanted to. If I'm going to do something, I wanted to do it. I didn't want to stay at that company for years and years and years and say, well, that one didn't work. Let me go try something else. And so I want to do one thing right the first time. And so I quit my job. And when we were living in an apartment at the time, I went directly to our closet where I picked up this old box were all my old paychecks. I don't know why I kept them. And I remember going through it. It just kind of, all these pieces of paper that were worthless. 7 years of my life, I had nothing to show for it. 7 years. I mean, and I went to work. When I went to work at the steel company, my boss owned me. He determined how much money I was going to make. He determined whether or not I would have a job. And I'd never have his job because he was so high up. And to think that I could come here, start part-time, doing some good things for people, and have a chance to make $250,000 a year. The only people that don't make $250,000 a year here, the only ones, are ones that truly don't want to. I'm happy where I am. I don't want to work that hard. I don't want to work that long. You know, I make 100 and I'm happy. I got a lot of people making 100, 125 that are happy. And I got a lot of people making 300,000 that are unhappy. So Errol, talk about that. This could lead to something special and big. This isn't just a part-time gig. When you're an Uber driver, that's it. When you're a security guard, that's it. If you're in school and you're a tutor, that's it. Here, this could lead to something. Talk about that, Errol.
Yeah, man, definitely. And I think, Coach, I think it must be the November in us, right? Both of us are born in November. I kept my pay stubs as well because somehow just keeping it makes me feel like it's still there for some reason. And you go through and you count it and then you're like, man, I had all of this money that came through my hands and what do I have to show for it? So again, the question that I ask some people is, think about how much money you made in the last 10 years. And can you can you touch 10% of that right now? And sadly, most people can't. And the reality, if you go from the 10, most people can't touch 1% of it. And so, so having something of significance, I've had a lot of different jobs, right? I've done retail. I've worked at grocery stores. I've worked at a furniture company. I've thrown newspapers, seafood mart, Tony. I think a bunch of different jobs. But I ultimately knew I was a bank teller. Worked at Geico. That was my last job before, doing this full time. But I think ultimately I wanted something that would last. And working for any company, for me, I'm not saying that every single job is terrible and all of that, but for me, I wanted to, if I was going to risk something, I wanted it to end up with me, right? I wanted to build a business that pays me whether I'm work or not, and also whether I'm here or not, meaning alive or not. And so we have something special in our company that allows for that. Coach, do you mind if I show something here?
Oh,
Because
go ahead.
some, and this is, I, you know, I just feel sometimes, man, people have to see stuff. And so this is just off of our company's website, our company, right? Primerica. This is our internal for all of the new people. This is our internal school board. Listen, there's 1,200 people, 1,208 people that last month, if you see over here on the left-hand side, the last month, over 1,200 people that made over 20,000 a month. So when we're talking about being able to make 250,000 a year, that's what we're talking. 250, it's around 20,000 a month. By the way, the top person made over 300,000 last month, 395,000 last month. So I wanted to be in a position where I had that same opportunity. And it wasn't going to be based on that I graduate from the right school, was, nepotism a part of it. It's all based on me. And it doesn't take talent. You can be any type of personalities. There are personality people that just go extroverts, and then there's introverts on that list. There's men, women, of all colors on that list. And so I wanted to find something that would just give me a shot and to have a significant life. I believe this, Coach. I mean, everybody I think would love to have a 250 and above income, but I really believe that life gets different at that number. Like you can make a decent income at 100,000, but life gets different at 250 because now you can pay your taxes, pay your bills, and invest enough so that you can, ultimately have generational wealth accumulated. It's kind of,
Errol,
mm-hmm.
If you had 10 people, like remember we talked about, you had 10 people making $1,000 a month that you brought into the business and you override them through, because you're a broker, 10 of them, you're making $250,000 a year.
Right.
10 people. Now you got to have 10 people in your church, and you got Facebook, 500-600 people. You got to figure 10 of those people would want to make an extra $1,000 a month. Yeah. You get 10 of those people making $1,000 a month. You're making close to, not exactly, close to $250,000 a year. Isn't that something?
Yeah, because, and I think I'm glad you interjected that, because I think sometimes people will hear what I'm saying and they're thinking they have to do it. No, it's a team effort. If you can go out and do it, but you're going to work like crazy if that's the case. But we're not talking about you driving yourself crazy, working around the clock. We're talking about finding people just like you who want what you want. And y'all doing a similar effort. But like you said, if you got you plus 10 others and they're making 1,000 or more a month, then because you're the one that led them here. You're the one, like you said before, matchmaking. You match their desires to the company that can fill their desires. And if you got 10 people like that working in congruency, working together, then you're going to benefit from that effort, as well as benefiting yourself. So 250,000 a year is definitely possible, and it doesn't have to take a long time.
No, not that, Errol, but I did a search on Chick-fil-A, and only two people out of 500 who apply get a Chick-fil-A franchise. And their total income per Chick-fil-A is $206,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't that something? Here, if you find 10 people, maybe 12, you're making $250,000 a year. It can't, and you don't have to have a degree. All it takes to get started here is a one-time fee of $100, one-time fee of $100. And then we got a little fee that to keep up our computer program, like $25 a month. And you don't even have to pay that if you don't want to down the road. The point I'm making is, for $100, you can't go to a Cowboy game on Thursday night for $100, and they're probably going to lose.
Nor should you. That's what I was going to say. Nor should you. But coach, just to even the $100 that you're referring to, that's to go towards your insurance license. But if you already have an insurance license, you don't have to pay the $100. Sometimes people feel like they have to pay a join or a sign up fee. No, this is a licensing fee. If you are already
It all
licensed,
goes to the state of Texas.
it all goes to the
Whatever
state.
state you're in.
Yeah, whatever state that you're in. It's just that. If you're already licensed, come on board. You don't have to pay that $100. But that $100 is only supplementing a true cost that's around $400 or $500 to get a person insurance license. And then
Here's an example. We have people that started on a part-time basis. Frank Joyce, he makes over $250,000 a year with us. Wave Frank down in San Antonio, $250,000 a year, and he's been doing this for decades upon decades upon decades. Frank had a stroke about 15 years ago. What happened to us? $250,000. It kept coming in. He hasn't worked like he used to have to work. Ain't that something? Buddy, your upline manager, Harold McDowell. Harold McDowell had this serious life-threatening accident about 6 months ago. He's still at about $350,000, close to $400,000 a year. So when it starts coming in, no one can take it away from you. Isn't that something, Errol? Give us the final word, Errol, before we give it over to Tony to talk about this week in training.
Well, a part of it is because the need, as much as we throw water on the fire, right? The fire keeps growing. So our need, the problems that we solve, yes, we do a great job and we have millions of clients. But every day people are born. Every day people are moving into our market, right? From an age standpoint. So as great as we are, we have 150,000 representatives, but the middle American, America is over 300 million people. So 150 of us will never put out the demand for what we do, and that's financial literacy and helping people implement, right? And so the incomes keep coming in because there's more people that need what we do than we have people that can solve the problems. And the last time that I checked, that's a great business. I mean, of course, we want to save them all, but mathematically, it's impossible. And so I'd rather be in a business where there's always a demand for what we do than a business where everyone else is doing it and there's limited supply. Limited demand.
Guy asked the question, how do they get their insurance license?
How do you get your insurance license? So depending on what state you're in, well, first of all, your person that invited you probably can tell you, but depending upon the state that you're in, you attend a licensing class, which we sponsor. We'll pay for the class. You attend that. They're going to teach you everything that's going to be on the state exam. And all you have to do is have a decent memory, not a great memory, because we're going to tell you what's going to be on the exam. So if you can recognize the information that we tell you in a multiple choice fashion, you'll get your license. And it's simple. I always tell people, you don't have to, you only need to be a C student here. You don't have to be an A student. It's 100 questions in most states. You got to get at least a 70. And that's it. Your score will not show up anywhere else but that pass notice. And that's the only reason that, that's the only thing that you have to do is just get your pass notice and you never have to study again.
Well, thank you very much, Errol. And Tony did a great job, Errol. Excellent. And Tony, we have training tomorrow. Part of our method of finding new people is through Facebook and Instagram and the social media. How does that work?
Well, Coach, that's what we explain tomorrow. So what we do is we every Wednesday, 9 a.m. Central on this Zoom channel, we do a seminar on how do you use your social media to find out. If it's your first time here, like, I don't even know this is for me, well, you know what? Give it a try. Just let us, I mean, it doesn't cost you to post. Post between your breakfast and your lunch. Just make a quick post and let us do it for you. We will respond. We'll answer the questions. We'll take care of it for you. But Coach, we teach that tomorrow, 9 a.m. Central Time on this Zoom channel. Is a 30-minute course. And we just talk about how do you post? What do you say? What do you do? But if you want to know, make a post tonight. Talk to the person who invited you tonight.
What kind of post should they post tonight?
Well, Coach, I have one that I love. You talked about it briefly, and I brought it up here, and it's called the Great Wealth Transfer. Honestly, what I did is I posted this and said, if you want to know more about this and want to help us handle this, DM me. And I got over 29.
What does DM mean?
It's direct message, sir. Just send me a message. Send me a smoke signal. Send me something. And Coach, most people actually end up just texting me directly, go, are you for real? Is this for real? I'm like, yeah, look it up. Just look it up. Great Wealth Transfer. Just Google it. Just Google it. And you'll see. Folks, it's 84 trillion with a T that is going to be transferring in the next 20 years. And here's the thing, folks. There's no one uniquely positioned to help all of these people but us. And so we're going to teach you, how do you reach the people? How do you just go out there and see if it works? Let us prove it to you. Errol, Bill, you guys did a fantastic job tonight. But ultimately, if this is your first time listening to this, it's up to you. Honestly, folks, this is what I thought. What have I got to lose?
Just give it a try. I just said, I'm just going to try. Worst going to happen is I don't like it. And there's a lot of things I tried I didn't like, and I moved on. But I like this.
Coach, I love it. Once I help someone not lose their home, once I help someone, when you deliver your first death claim, when you get to be that person for that widow and those children in their darkest time of life, you're the only lighthouse. Coach, I didn't come here to do life insurance. But what I did come here was to be a superhero. And the best way I know is being that person to deliver that check and be there for that person who needs you more than anything else. What we do is real, folks. Thank you, everybody.
All right, everyone. Good night. And God willing, and we have Saturday training this Saturday at 9 o'clock Central Time. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.